You're watching TVC Breakfast. In West Africa, children remain in the vulnerable group.
The latest global report on trafficking in persons by the United Nations found that young boys and girls were among those most trafficked in the region. The National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, reports that the average age of trafficked children in Nigeria is 15.
Today is Universal Children's Day, and we're spotlighting issues surrounding child trafficking, forced adoption, domestic service prostitution, and other forms of exploitative labor practices are some of the reasons why children are trafficked across the country.
The Senate has set up a committee to conduct an investigative hearing into the rampant cases of child trafficking in the country. Well, joining us now via Skype is the president, Catch Them Young, Fatima Kachala Shitu. She's a woman and child advocate. Thank you very much for joining us at this point. Now, are you concerned about the situation in the country of child trafficking, where children are very much vulnerable to these antics? And it seems that each time there's a spotlight on this, we keep seeing situations like this happen over time.
Good morning, Nigerians, and good morning, my angels. I call children angels. It's unfortunate that the whole worldwide, it's one of the major menaces that we have in the world. But in Africa, in general, you discover that because of poverty, that is a major thing. Well, what do you expect of a country where, especially in Nigeria, where there is no industries and the farming that is supposed to take most of our population to be there are also being not actually sponsored in ports. Why I'm saying this is because if you notice that it's the poor man's children that are being trafficked, it's the poor man's that are being kidnapped and then sent to farms and homes for them to work for us. It's unfortunate that we also don't help, the public don't also help, in the sense that when you get a house girl or a house boy, you only allow them to work for you. You don't look at their futures. Not a child that was born to you up to 18, 20. What do you plan for them? Because it's part of your family, it's part of the household. If you can take a stranger outside and bring him in and then work for you, that means the person has to, your future is in your hands. So it's really a very dicey issue, since that we contribute to this trafficking, this social trafficking. And then
all right, if we say that poverty is at the root of this, and we know where Nigeria is ranked at the World Poverty Index, are we saying that this situation is as dire and complicated and may not be resolved anytime soon?
Well, it depends on our policies and how we follow up on them. Our policies are, almost all our policies are one of the best policies in the world. But implementation is our major problem in Nigeria. And that's because most of the policies are made, the people that are supposed to implement is not going to be to their favor. So that is our major problem. And then it is political that Nigeria is not the worst poverty, it's not the highest poverty area in the world. No, there are a lot of African countries that live on us, and there are a lot of countries that are first world countries that live on Nigeria. So they cannot rank us like that because of politics. Yet we are supposed to do something to bring out people from poverty the way China is doing. China is a third world country. These are countries that we've been helping the poor. So I don't see the reason why Nigeria will not be at the forefront. I still blame us for it. I please blame us to come, because most of the children that are being stolen, are being trafficked, are the poor man's children.
So what is the role of families now? Because you see a situation where some parents hand over their children to persons to perhaps take care of because they cannot handle to take care of their children. So what are their roles? How do they help in checking this challenge?
Well, you know, as I earlier said, it's because of poverty that they do that. They want a better life for themselves and the other children. That's why they hand over the seniors to people that they think that will take care of them. But unfortunately, instead of taking care of them, they now use them anyhow and dump them. If you notice in the north central part of Nigeria, most of these girls are returned back to their parents with AIDS. And then they don't have anything to show for it. They can't take care of them. And they don't even know what is wrong with their children. NAPTIC and NOA have a lot of things to do. Enlightenment is the major problem in this country. If people know that they send their children to those people that they think they will take care of them, and they are not doing that, they will not do that.
So who's supposed to enlighten Nigerians on this trend?
We have agencies that are being paid to do this. They are doing next to nothing. Like NOA, like the NAFTI, like in fact a lot of agencies, the NGOs. And a single person or organization cannot do that. We have to make sure that it's a collective responsibility now. We have to make sure that we do these things together.
Now, according to the Global Slavery Index, it ranks Nigeria as 32 among 167 countries with the highest number of slaves in terms of trafficking, especially in children. Specifically, it says over 1 million people live in modern slavery. I wonder how worrying this figure is for you.
It's unfortunate that majority of that figures you just mentioned are Nigerians or blacks. Unfortunately, as I earlier said, our systems are not working. We have beautiful systems, but they are not put into practice. They are not actually promoted. What I'm trying to say in a nutshell is that virtually almost everything we push it to the government, and unfortunately for us, we just sit down and say government. What as populace, what do we do? What are we doing on our own communities? Forget about the trafficking outside the country. There's a lot of things that is going on that is worse within the country, within the household. In a particular state, you will have that. You will note that there are a lot of house helps that are employed. Nobody knows their future. And if we are going to stop trafficking, we should stop pushing the blame to the government alone.
But government creates the enabling environment for even NGOs to thrive in whatever they want to do.
But when government fails, what are the enabling environment, my sister? If the government says, now you're just talking about constituency projects. If constituency projects are taken into consideration, and then women are actually majority of the people that vote, if you can bring them out of poverty, do you think there's a woman that will give out her child for labor? To labor for somebody when they can do that and take care of their own family and their immediate environment? No, why we went to overseas is because their system seems to be working in court, but they are not working actually. We go and make their system work. Let's stay home and make our system work. As the border closure is, I don't see there will be any trafficking or there will be much trafficking, not much. It's not only agricultural products that are being trafficked across the borders. Our borders are porous. Let's all of us put our hands together and make sure that these things are done and done properly. Let's stop pushing blame. Let's start with ourselves. You have 1 or 2 house boys or house girls in your house. They are maybe.
All right, Fatima Kachala Shitu speaking there on the children, especially because we are celebrating Universal Children's Day today. All right, we hear she is back. Fatima Kachala Shitu, are you there?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
All right, now how much of a threat does this pose to the future of the country? Because we say that children are the leaders of tomorrow.
Well, if the saying goes that children are the future of tomorrow, then we don't have a future. Africa, not only Nigeria, Africa will come and will be extinct. Because if you traffic and send all your children out, where are you sending the future? There is no future. Go to our schools. It's unfortunate that you cannot get children that can even want to be leaders now. I was in a school and I was told, somebody said, no, he doesn't want to be a leader. What do you want to be? I want to be a pilot. Because as far as he's concerned, when he's up there in the sky, he's out of the country. So it's unfortunate that we cannot control those messes, but we can do a lot to minimize it. Let's create opportunities for our children. Let's create, for those that have it, let them establish industries. Let's establish factories. Let's establish farms that people will go to. You know, when you make things, and not about bad it is, when you make it dicey, a lot of people will go for it. So let children be happy to be part of these organizations.
If you're saying let's create opportunities, the government will tell you that it has created opportunities. The school feeding program for young kids, the social intervention programs that the federal government has initiated. Are these not enough to ensure that people are taken out of poverty and children can enjoy the life they've come to live?
But you see, the feeding programs, how many poor man's children are in the schools? Let's be realistic. Go to the villages. You'll discover that there are schools, you will see goats and sheep in their schools, not human beings. Because all the children are being pulled out to go and do either hawking or in our homes, working for us. There is nothing like that. You are trying to empower those that have it. If you really want us to work, let's be honest with ourselves. All these funds that are being used to re-enrich the rich man's children or the elite, let us deploy it to our villages. Let me and you start doing that advocacy. Let's go to the villages, our own villages, and tell them that, look, do not give your child to anybody. The more you give them out, the more you render our place useless.
All right.
Let's go back to the villages. Let's put things in order, so that our children would not even want to leave their villages to the cities. Talk less of going out of the country.
Now, let's focus our attention now on the Universal Children's Day, which the goal for celebrating this day is to improve child welfare worldwide, promote and celebrate child rights, and promote as well togetherness and awareness amongst children. When you look at all of these goals, where do we begin to address these issues?
Thank you very much. Let's start by giving our children a gift of free education instead of feeding in existing schools. Once we have free education, we know that all our children will be in schools. Let's create opportunities for the parents to come out of poverty. Let's relax this uncle borrower thing so that grassroots will get sponsors, will get finances and inputs to their farm so that they can, because majority of our citizens are farmers. So let's go to the grassroots, give them what they need, monitor it, uptake those things from them, and then we make sure that things are good for the grassroots, then everything will work out fine. So, but when you give the gift of free education, like when we were having free education, things were working very well for us. So let's start by doing that constituency project for those that have past school age. Let's create centers where they can learn how to sew clothes, how to do
vocational jobs.
Vocational jobs where they can learn how to do things, carpentry and everything, so that we will have a society where everybody is engaged. You will discover that almost all things that are menaces in the community will be a time of the past.
Okay, so you talked about free education as a gift. Now, in some certain climes and some areas in Nigeria, the state governments have actually declared some schools education free and all of that, but we still see that children and parents do not still go to those schools. Rather, they prefer to go to the farms to cultivate and harvest food crops for sale. How do we ensure that, despite government's plans and intervention in that area and ensuring free education in some states, these kids go to school?
Well, it is now left for you and me to do the advocacy. We encourage the parents that let these children go to school. After school, there are other work you can do in the farm, not early morning. After school, they can go to the farm. That's what we were trained for. Those people that are above 50, that is what they did. They go to school in the morning. When they come back from school, they eat, they bath, they change, or they go straight to school. I mean, to the farm. That was our lifestyle. I don't know. You know, we borrow technology without actually looking at our populace. We borrow technology without looking at our culture. Let's marry technology with our culture. Anything that is technological that will not go in tune with our people, that will, our people will not understand, let's modify it to ourselves. Let's not just be a copy wrong, actually not right. We are copying everything wrongly. Let's do things that will be good for us, that will come bring us out. That's the essence of even education. You sit down and look at things and passion out so that your own people will now be in tune with them comfortably.
All right, Fatima Kachala Shitu, thank you for your time on TVC Breakfast.
Thank you very much.